Coming up on NCC News at 4, a gruesome discovery in drinking water at an LA hotel.
Winter weather in central New York, how will it affect your weekend?
The last Big East matchup between SU and Georgetown isn't until Saturday, but it's already setting records.
And check your pantry. We'll tell you what common food product has been recalled.
Hundreds of central New Yorkers are losing their jobs. Find out what that means for the city of Auburn. NCC News at 4 starts now.
$352 central New Yorkers have been told they'll be out of jobs. Good evening, I'm Alexa Greenberg.
And I'm Stephanie Jacobs. The city of Auburn is still coping after the Dakin-McQuay plant announced yesterday that it would close. That's our top story tonight. The Dakin-McQuay plant in Auburn employed hundreds of central New Yorkers, but soon they'll have to look for work someplace else. Our Heisa Dominguez is in the studio to tell us how the community is responding.
Thanks, Stephanie. I was in Auburn today, and the mood is somber as one of the largest employers in the city announces they'll be shutting down their operation.
When we arrived, we had significant fire in the basement. Firefighters were able to put it out quickly. The building was occupied at the time of the fire. Everybody got out.
Dakin-McQuay International has struggled in the past few years. A few years ago, there were several rounds of layoffs where hundreds of workers lost their jobs. Though we were not able to contact McQuay directly, the VP of Marketing told WSYR that the decision was based on operational reasons. If the facility does decide to shut down, there is no denying it will be a big burden to the city of Auburn, but they did say some employees may be offered an opportunity to relocate. McQuay International has been around for years in the city of Auburn, but now it is said to be closing its doors and hundreds of workers will be left unemployed. The devastating news comes as a surprise to many in the community.
I think it's a shame. I think any manufacturing that's moving out of New York is a shame.
Well, it's going to have a real big impact. It's got to. I don't know. Politicians better get in and do their job and see if they can keep them here. That's the way I look at it.
More than 300 local employees will be laid off, sending these jobs to Tennessee, where McQuay has a bigger facility. The plant will start to close in April and end in December of 2014. But the Director of Commerce at Cayuga County is trying to avoid the close.
And our first priority right now is seeing if there's anything we can do to keep them here. If we can't, then our very next priority is seeing if we can find jobs for the people that are going to be displaced by this decision, so that they can stay in the community, they can keep their families here, they don't have to uproot their lives and move somewhere else.
Dakin-McQuay has struggled in the past. A few years ago, there were several rounds of layoffs where hundreds of workers lost their jobs. Hopefully, the facility could find a way to stay open. Back to you, Steph.
Firefighters in Syracuse responded to a reported house fire on the west side at 1437 Burnett Ave just after 1 p.m. When they arrived, they found smoke billowing from the first floor. The fire chief said the fire started in the basement.
When we arrived, we had significant fire in the basement. Firefighters were able to put it out quickly. The building was occupied at the time of the fire. Everybody got out.
The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
Wegmans has recalled some of its all-purpose bleached flour, according to company officials. The recall was put into effect because some small blue polyurethane balls were found inside the bags of flour. The flour that has been recalled has a manufacturing date between December 24th, 2012 and February 15th, 2013. If you did purchase recalled items, you may return it to any Wegmans store for a full refund.
And changes are on the way for the Boeing jets that have been grounded for over a month due to battery problems. Boeing is proposing a new plan to federal regulators that would fix the problems with the 787 Dreamliner's batteries. The FAA grounded all 50 Dreamliners in service across the world after the lithium battery caused fires and smoking in several of the planes. The Dreamliner is Boeing's newest and most advanced model to date. The regional market is expanding this year after making a space for 75 new vendors. The market is spending $1.5 million on a structure that will create this space, and it will be ready by the time the market opens for the season in May.
Well, all eyes are on the Orange this weekend as SU prepares to take on Georgetown at the Carrier Dome. Students have been camping outside for days now, getting ready for the big game. And our Alexandra Montgomery is out now on the patio. Alex, I'm glad I'm not in one of those tents up there.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's been a crazy week weather-wise, and today is no exception. You can see it's a perfect Syracuse winter weather day. Now let's take a look at our current temperatures. Right now it is 21 degrees, and the barometric pressure is at 30 inches, humidity is at 83%, and the winds are blowing at 8 miles per hour. Now, if you heard my forecast this morning, I told you to watch out for some heavy snow today and low visibility when you're out on the road. Now, tonight we're not as expecting much snow, but the roads are going to be a little bit icier, so you're going to want to watch out for that. Now, stay tuned for my full forecast when I let you know what's happening on the weekend. Back to you guys, all warm in the studio.
And coming up next, a thought to keep in mind and keep in the back of your mind the next time you check into a hotel.
Find out why guests at an LA hotel had water that only trickled for days. The cause has some appalled. A jet crashed yesterday in East Georgia, killing at least 5 people on board and injuring 2 others. Authorities say the plane landed around 8:30 p.m. near Regional Airport in Thompson, Georgia, and then ran off the runway and crashed into the woods about a mile east of the airport. The flight departed from Nashville just before 6:30 p.m. Federal officials are investigating the cause of the crash. The body of a missing Canadian tourist was found Tuesday in a water tank on top of a hotel in downtown Los Angeles. Elisa Lamb's corpse was found in the tank by a maintenance worker after a hotel guest complains of low water pressure in the building. Lamb's parents reported her missing in early February, and police say the last sighting of the 21-year-old was in the hotel on January 31st. The news was disturbing to hotel guests staying there.
It's disgusting. I mean, water I drank and brushed my teeth.
According to the fire department, no hazardous materials were found in the water. 3 are dead and 3 others injured after an early morning drive-by shooting on the Las Vegas Strip. Around 4:20 this morning, police believe men in a black Range Rover pulled up alongside a Maserati and fired shots into the car. The Maserati then drove away from the SUV and into an intersection, hitting at least 4 other cars. Las Vegas police are still searching for the men involved in the incident. Headed to the Midwest, better get your shovels and snow boots out for a winter storm that has already brought half a foot of snow to some areas in the winter. The winter storm warnings were issued from Colorado through Illinois, and many schools canceled classes ahead of time. The snowstorm has already been blamed for the death of an 18-year-old who lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a truck. Officials fear this storm could be the worst in the Midwest history since the 2-day blizzard in 2011. And a one-time rising political star, former U.S. Representative Jesse Jackson Jr. pleaded guilty in federal court yesterday morning to misusing more than $7,500,000 of his campaign cash on private expenses. Jackson, who stepped down from his position 3 months ago to reportedly get treatment for bipolar disorder and depression, will face time behind bars when he is sentenced this summer. Jackson faces up to 57 months in prison and a fine between $10,000 to $100,000.
There's a new twist in the Oscar Pistorius case today. According to South African police, the detective leading the investigation is himself facing attempted murder charges. Detective Hilton Botha is said to have been involved in a 2011 shooting. Botha was a witness for the prosecution during Pistorius' bail hearings on Wednesday. Three young British Muslims were convicted Thursday of plotting terrorist bombings that prosecutors said would have been bigger than the 2005 London transit attacks. A London jury found Ashiq Ali, Irfan Khalid, and Irfan Nasir guilty in plotting what could have been deadly attacks. Explosions rocked a crowded shopping center in the southern Indian city of Hyderabad Thursday, killing at least 11 people and wounding 50 more. The pair of bombs were attached to 2 bicycles and went off during rush hour right after sunset. Authorities are unsure of who was responsible for the bombings. More turmoil in Syria today as a car bomb exploded Thursday near the Damascus headquarters of Syria's ruling party. More than 40 people were killed in what marks the 3rd day of attacks in the country's capital. While it is unclear who is responsible for the bomb, rebel fighters have been trying to topple the government of President Bashir al-Assad. In the southern city of Daraa, a government airstrike killed 18 people and a rebel field hospital as well.
Good evening. Good evening, I'm Casey Cutler. Coming up on NCC News at 4:40, find out how businesses around Syracuse are getting ready for the crowds flocking to the Carrier Dome on Saturday.
And stay tuned for our full weather forecast and find out what's in store for the people camping outside the Carrier Dome.
NCC weather reporter Alexandra Montgomery is in the studio to tell us how much snow to expect next. If you think it's too cold to go outside today, imagine what it's like for the people behind me who are camping out in tents for the Georgetown basketball game this Saturday. They actually slept in front of the dome overnight. And we'll hear from one of those people later in sports. But right now, let's move on to the current conditions.
Take a look behind me. Here's someone in a tent outside. They're getting ready for the Georgetown game on Saturday. Let's take a look at what they're going through. Our current temperature sits at 21 degrees. Barometer is at 30 inches. Our humidity is at 83 degrees, and the winds are blowing at 83 miles per hour. Now, if you listened to my forecast earlier today, I told you to expect heavy snow. Right now, tonight, we're not going to see as much heavy snow. The snow accumulation today was around 2 inches, so let's take a look at the total snow. You can see that Syracuse has about 70 inches of total snow this season, while places like Oswego and Fulton actually have around 100 inches. Now, this time last year, Syracuse only saw about 38 inches of snow, so it's actually good that we're in 70. That means more precipitation. Let's take a look at a storm that we're looking that's going across the nation. By Sunday, some states some New England states are going to get heavy amounts of snow. Some areas are going to get 1 to 2 inches per hour. But if you look at where it's going to hit in New York, it's hitting more like southern and eastern, and it's not hitting in Onondaga County. That doesn't mean we're not going to get any snow this weekend. It just means we're not going to get as much, but I'll get more of that coming up in our 5-day forecast. Let's take a look at tonight. Tonight's temperatures are actually going to be warmer than it was today, sitting at about 25 degrees, although outside it's going to feel like 10 to 15 degrees because that wind chill has not risen above the 0-degree mark. It's going to be partly cloudy tonight, later tonight, and that's going to carry into tomorrow. Let's take a look at tomorrow. When you wake up in the morning, it's going to be around 20 degrees. In the afternoon, it's going to warm up to 30. And by the nighttime, it's going to stay at 30, and we're going to expect some flurries. Let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. Now, on Friday, I already said it's going to be high in the 30s, low in the 20s, and unfortunately on Saturday, we're going to start to see some wintry mix that's going to change into snow by the evening. And Sunday, again, is going to have highs in the 40s, but lows are going to be in the 20s, and we may see some snow. Monday will be mostly clear with highs in the 40s and lows in the 30s, but Tuesday, some heavy snow is possible with highs in the upper 30s and lows in the 20s.
Alrighty, and so for Saturday, what can we expect? I know a lot of people are camping out for the game.
Now, Saturday is gonna, it's gonna be cold. Unfortunately, we're gonna get some rain and some snow, which is really unfortunate because Friday morning is gonna be clear and beautiful, but, it's not in the cards for the game.
Good to know. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Mr. Elena Golfapulu. Coming up on sports, the son of former SU football running back coach talks about growing up in a football family, and students are already camping out for the Georgetown game. Carmelo Anthony will be there. Tickets are sold out. How early should you plan to be there? I'll have all that and more coming up after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, I'm sure you've always wondered what it's like to be a football player, maybe even a football coach. But have you ever wondered what it would be like to be the son of both? Well, I headed over to Fayetteville Manlius High School to talk to one athlete that not only followed his father all over the U.S. growing up, but is currently following his father's footsteps football-wise. Check it out.
When I was younger, we lived in New Jersey. My dad got drafted by the Giants. Then we moved to Miami, played for the Dolphins for a year. Then we moved to California. He played with the Raiders for 5 years.
TJ Wheatley may only be a sophomore in high school, but he has lived all over the United States.
Then he retired and became a track coach at the University of Michigan. Then he coached back at his old high school. And then he was the running backs coach at Eastern Michigan, then Ohio Northern.
He is the son of Tyron Wheatley, the running back coach for the SU football team.
Then we moved to New York and he was at Syracuse for 3 years. Now we're going to Buffalo. So.
For TJ, the end of the school year means moving to yet another city. Doug Marone's decision to move to the Buffalo Bills meant taking some of the staff with him, including TJ's dad. But TJ sees this constant moving as an advantage.
I see like lots of different playing styles, and I pick up a few things like everywhere I go and meet new people. So it's kind of affected the way it shaped my game a little bit and how I play and how I see things when I'm on the court and on the field.
Only a high school sophomore, he is already being recruited by college scouts. TJ's coach, Tom Blackford, is certain of his success, and not only because of his athletic skills.
He's a good player, but more importantly, he's a great kid. He's a great kid, yeah. And we're going to miss him tremendously.
Now, in terms of the future, TJ hasn't made any decisions yet.
I have no idea yet, so I don't know. You know, Coach Schaefer and SU, that'd be nice because I know all those guys and stuff from my dad coaching up there. In Michigan, like I have a lot of family and friends out there, so I could always get a home-cooked meal, but I have no idea where I'm going yet, so.
TJ already received an offer to join the SU football team by Coach Marone after just his sophomore season of football, and that's not all. He has also been talking to scouts from North Carolina, Maryland, Alabama, Michigan, Rutgers, and Penn State. TJ insists that this is only the beginning and that he has not made up his mind about his plans after college, but said that his dream is to make it to the NFL. And if that fails, TJ is thinking about medical school as Plan B. Now, this Saturday, the Syracuse Orange are playing their biggest game of the year against Georgetown. This much-anticipated matchup will be the final game between the longtime rivals before SU leaves the Big East for the ACC next year. Former Syracuse star Carmelo Anthony will be back at the Dome, retiring his jersey in a ceremony during Saturday's game. Now, this game is breaking the record for the largest on-campus college crowd ever, with 35,012 tickets sold. Students have been camping outside the Carrier Dome since Monday. NCC News caught up with them earlier this morning. Check it out. Now, if you're planning to attend the game, here are a few things that you should know. First of all, SU officials are urging fans to get there early to avoid traffic and delays. The Dome will be open to the public at 2 p.m., 2 hours before tip-off at 4 p.m., but all SU parking lots will open at 11 a.m. Now, fans who do not have a parking permit are encouraged to use the Skytop parking lot for $12 per vehicle. You'll find bus transportation there to bring you to the Dome. Now, the Buffalo Sabres are parting ways with their longtime coach, Lindy Ruff. This decision came one day after a 2-1 home loss to the Winnipeg Jets, dropping the Sabres to a 6-10-1. Ruff is a former Sabres player and has been head coach since 1997. He is the longest tenured coach in the NHL. So what prompted this decision? Well, apparently Ruff was outdated. There was nothing wrong with his tactics or work ethic, but general manager Darcy Rager felt that the team needed a fresh start. The Sabres are taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, and Ron Ralston as the interim coach for the rest of the season.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lena. We'll be right back. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night, Syracuse.